Hello, my best students, and welcome. Today, we're not just learning English. We're doing something deeper. We're stepping into real conversations, honest reflections, powerful moments that shaped me, and maybe, just maybe, will shape you too. Because English is more than words. It's a mirror. And through that mirror, we discover more about who we are, who we've been, and who we're becoming. In this episode, I'm going to share 10 life lessons, 10 powerful truths that made me stronger. Each one taught me something not just about language, but about life, discipline, courage, fear, and growth. And I'm inviting you to learn English with me through them. You don't need to take notes. You just need to listen, feel, reflect, grow. Let these lessons live in your heart. Let them help you speak, not just fluently, but fearlessly. So take a deep breath, and let's begin. Life Lesson 1. Pain is a powerful teacher. Let's begin with something most people try to run from: pain, discomfort, loss, rejection, failure. We all go through it. We all try to avoid it. But here's the truth that changed my life. Pain is not your enemy, it's your teacher. And when you learn to sit with it, to listen to it, to understand what it's trying to show you, something powerful happens. You grow stronger, wiser, braver, and yes, more fluent too. You might be wondering, what does this have to do with learning English? Everything, because the journey to learning a language is full of discomfort. You'll make mistakes. You'll feel embarrassed. You'll forget words. You'll want to hide. You'll feel like you're not good enough. That's pain. But that pain is trying to tell you something. Keep going. This is how you grow. The moments I've grown the most in life were never the easiest. They were the moments that hurt, the moments I felt alone, the moments when I wanted to quit. But every one of those moments was an invitation to rise. And when I accepted that pain was part of the process, not a punishment, but a message, I became unstoppable. If you want to grow, you must learn to stay present with your pain, to ask, what is this trying to teach me? Maybe it's showing you that you need more patience. Maybe it's telling you that you need to let go of perfection. Maybe it's helping you build humility or resilience or self-respect. Whatever it is, don't ignore it. Use it. The same applies to your English journey. If you feel stuck right now, or insecure, or frustrated with your progress, that's not failure. That's feedback. That's your soul whispering, "This matters to me." And that alone is proof of growth. Because pain only shows up when something important is happening. If you didn't care, you wouldn't feel anything. Here's what I want you to remember. Your pain doesn't define you. It refines you. It shapes your edges. It tests your commitment. It prepares you for the life you're asking for. And if you run from it, you run from your own transformation. So the next time you make a mistake in English, or feel ashamed of your level, or feel like giving up, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, what can I learn from this moment? That question alone changes everything, because the strongest version of you is not the one who avoids the hard stuff. It's the one who uses it, learns from it, and rises through it. Your pain has something to teach you. Are you ready to listen? Life. Lesson 2. Confidence comes from action, not perfection. There was a time in my life when I believed confidence came from getting everything right, from being perfect, from knowing all the answers before speaking. And because of that belief, I stayed quiet. I stayed afraid. I stayed small. But the moment I truly began to grow was the moment I learned this lesson. Confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from showing up over and over, even when you're not. This lesson changed how I approached everything, including learning English. I used to wait for the right moment to speak. I waited to feel fluent. I waited to sound good enough. And in all that waiting, I wasn't growing. I was just standing still. But when I finally gave myself permission to act before I felt ready, something amazing happened. I didn't become perfect. I became brave. And that bravery built my confidence. The same applies to you. You will never feel 100% ready. You will never know every word. You will make mistakes. You will forget phrases. And guess what? That's exactly how it's supposed to be. Because real confidence isn't loud. It doesn't say, "Look at how good I am." It says, "I'm not afraid to try." Every time you speak English, even if you stumble, you are training your courage. You're telling your brain, "I can do hard things." And that message goes deeper than vocabulary. It begins to shape your entire identity. Here's the key. Take small actions. Don't wait to feel fluent. Speak anyway. Don't wait to feel smart. Write anyway. Don't wait to be confident. Act as if you already are. That one shift creates momentum. And momentum is more powerful than motivation. It keeps you going on the days when you feel unsure. Think of a baby learning to walk. They fall, they wobble, they look silly, but they don't stop, and nobody laughs at them. Why? Because falling is part of learning. Why don't we give ourselves the same grace? Why do we expect ourselves to speak like natives before we've even practiced like beginners? Confidence is not a gift, it's a result, a product of action, of effort, of consistency. You don't need to wait for it. You can build it starting today. Every sentence you speak, every lesson you complete, every journal entry you write, that's a brick in your foundation. So the next time you feel nervous about speaking, ask yourself, am I waiting to feel confident, or am I willing to build it? Because one of those paths leads to power. The other keeps you stuck in silence. Perfection is a myth, but action is real. It's raw, it's messy, and it's where true strength is born. You don't have to feel ready. You just have to begin. Life lesson 3. You don't need to rush to make progress. There's a quiet pressure that lives inside almost every learner. I need to be fluent fast. I'm behind. Other people are better than me. And that pressure, although invisible, is heavy. It makes you anxious. It steals your joy. It makes you feel like you're never doing enough. I used to feel that way too, until I learned one of the most important lessons of my life. Progress doesn't require speed. It requires consistency. We live in a world that celebrates fast results, fast learning, fast speaking, fast success. But that's not how real growth happens, especially not with something as deep and emotional as language. English isn't a race, it's a relationship. And relationships take time. When you rush, you miss the details. You forget what you've already learned. You become addicted to results instead of falling in love with the process. But when you slow down, when you allow yourself to grow at your own rhythm, something beautiful happens. You begin to enjoy the journey. You stop comparing. You start connecting. I want to tell you something honestly. Fluency is not just about how much you know. It's about how deeply you understand. You could learn 50 words in a day and forget them tomorrow. Or you could learn 5 words a week, but truly live them, use them, own them. Which one is more powerful? Don't let the timeline steal the transformation. Your speed doesn't define your intelligence. Your pace doesn't reflect your potential. Some of the strongest learners I've ever met were slow, but steady. They weren't impressive in week 1, but in year 1, they had something unshakable, something earned, something real. Think of nature. A tree doesn't grow fast, but it grows strong. A river doesn't rush, but it carves valleys. You don't have to rush to become fluent. You just have to keep going. So here's what I want you to start telling yourself. I'm not behind. I'm building. Say it again. I'm not late. I'm learning. Say it louder. I don't need to rush. I need to trust. Trust the process. Trust your effort. Trust the small daily actions that don't look impressive right now, but are quietly changing who you are. Slow is smooth, and smooth becomes fast. That's how real mastery works. Not in one leap, but in thousands of quiet, patient steps. So take a deep breath. Let go of the pressure. Let go of the clock. Your English doesn't need to be fast. It needs to be yours. It needs to be true, and it needs to be built with love, not stress. Your progress is happening, even if you can't see it yet. Keep going, slowly, gently, honestly, because the strongest growth is often invisible until it's undeniable. Life Lesson 4. Mistakes are proof that you're brave. Let me say something that might sound strange at first. Your mistakes are not weaknesses. They are evidence of your courage. Every time you say something wrong, every time you mispronounce a word, every time you freeze mid-sentence and forget what you were trying to say, you are doing something most people are too afraid to even try. I used to be ashamed of my mistakes. I would get so quiet after saying something wrong. I'd replay it in my head for hours, feeling embarrassed, like I had failed. But that changed the moment I realized this truth. Mistakes are not the opposite of progress. They are the path to progress. You can't grow without them. Think about it. How did you learn to walk as a baby? You fell, over and over, and every fall was a step closer to balance. You didn't quit. You didn't feel shame. You didn't say, "I'm not good at this." You just kept getting up until walking became natural. Learning English is no different. Fluency is not about getting it right the first time. It's about having the courage to try, mess up, and keep trying again. Every mistake you make is your brain learning, adjusting, building new connections. It's not failure, it's feedback. And here's something beautiful. The people who laugh at your mistakes are not ahead of you. They're just insecure. The people who support you, who smile when you try, who help you correct a word gently, they understand. They've been there. They know what bravery looks like. You don't have to be mistake-free. You just have to be mistake-friendly. Instead of avoiding them, welcome them. Instead of hiding, step forward. When you make a mistake, say to yourself, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm doing something hard, and I'm proud of myself. Even the most fluent speakers still make mistakes. Native speakers forget words. They mix up grammar. They say things that don't make sense. But the difference is they don't freeze. They don't feel small. They keep going. That's the mindset you want. Not perfect, but persistent. So from now on, wear your mistakes like badges, like proof that you showed up, that you didn't stay silent, that you had something to say and you said it, imperfectly, but powerfully. The next time you speak English and get stuck, smile. The next time someone corrects you, say thank you. The next time you hear yourself mispronounce something, laugh and try again. Because all of it, all the awkwardness, all the missteps, all the errors, is not just part of your journey, it is your journey. And the more mistakes you make, the more stories you'll have. And the more stories you have, the more confident, human, and strong you'll become. Your mistakes are not the end of your story. They're the beginning of your strength. Life lesson 5. Discipline is more powerful than motivation. Let's be honest. There are days you don't feel like studying. Days when you're tired, distracted, overwhelmed, or just not in the mood. And on those days, motivation disappears. It's silent. It doesn't answer your calls. And if you depend on motivation to make progress, then your progress becomes unpredictable. That's when I learned one of the most life-changing truths. Discipline will take you where motivation never could. Motivation is emotional. It's reactive. It comes when something is exciting or new. But discipline? Discipline is steady. It's a decision. It's what shows up when the excitement fades. It's what helps you keep going when no one's watching. And that's where the real transformation happens. There was a time when I waited to feel ready before doing anything, before practicing English, before starting a new routine, before making a change. And you know what I learned? Readiness is a lie. It never fully comes. But discipline doesn't ask if you feel ready. It just whispers, start anyway. When you build discipline, you stop negotiating with yourself. You don't ask, do I want to study today? You simply say, this is who I am now. I'm the kind of person who shows up, even for 10 minutes, even on a bad day. That's not just about language. That's about character. That's strength. And here's something surprising. The more you choose discipline over motivation, the more motivation starts to come back. Because now it sees that you're serious, that you're committed, and commitment creates energy, not the other way around. Discipline is also what creates confidence. You don't feel proud because you studied when you were inspired. You feel proud because you studied when you didn't want to, because you showed yourself that your goals matter more than your mood. That's power. If you want to build this habit, start with something small. Choose one English habit, just one. Maybe listening to a podcast while you cook, or writing 3 lines in your journal each night, or repeating 10 sentences out loud every morning. Make it so small that you can't fail, then repeat it daily, even when it's boring, especially when it's boring, because boredom is where discipline is born. Eventually, it won't feel like a task anymore. It'll feel like a part of you. And that's when the magic happens. You won't need reminders. You won't need motivation. You'll just do it because it's who you are now. So if today you don't feel like studying, that's okay. You don't need to feel like it. You just need to do it. And when you do, you'll feel something better than motivation. You'll feel proud. Discipline is quiet. It doesn't shout, but it builds things that motivation never could. Life Lesson 7. Your mindset shapes your results. I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, what do I believe about myself as a learner? What do I believe about my ability to speak English, to grow, to change? Because what I've learned, the hard way, is that your mindset is everything. It's not just a background feeling. It's the silent voice that controls your actions, your motivation, your energy, your future. If you believe you're not good at languages, your brain will find ways to prove that true. If you believe I always forget things, you'll start forgetting more, not because you're weak, but because you're repeating a belief, not a fact. This lesson hit me during a time when I was doing everything right. I had a study routine, good resources, helpful tools, but I still wasn't improving, and I couldn't understand why. Until one day, I caught the thought I was repeating in my head. I'll never be fluent. Not out loud, not dramatic, just quiet, constant, deep. And that belief was blocking everything. Your thoughts create your emotions. Your emotions drive your actions, and your actions create your results. So if you want better results, you don't just need new methods. You need a new mindset. Start small. Begin to change the way you speak to yourself. Instead of saying, I'm bad at speaking, say, I'm still learning how to speak. Instead of, I'm too slow, say, I'm building my pace. Instead of, I always forget, say, I'm improving my memory one word at a time. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It's a habit, a daily choice. But when you train your mind to see yourself as capable, consistent, and growing, your whole experience of learning English changes. Suddenly, it feels possible, even exciting. You stop being your own obstacle and become your biggest supporter. You can even build a mindset routine. In the morning, say one powerful affirmation out loud. I am becoming fluent one step at a time. Write it in your journal. Repeat it while walking. Whisper it before studying. Let it sink in. Let it shape how you see yourself. Because your brain is listening every day, and if you feed it negativity, it will believe it. But if you feed it strength, hope, and progress, it will rise to meet your belief. This lesson applies beyond English. It applies to every area of life. Your fitness, your relationships, your dreams. The way you think about yourself becomes your reality. That's not magic. That's psychology. That's mindset. So the next time you doubt yourself, pause. Ask, is this a fact or just an old belief I no longer need? Replace it, rewire it, repeat it. Because you are not just learning a language, you are rewriting your story. And that starts with the words you tell yourself first. Life lesson 8. Progress is not always visible, but it's always happening. There's a moment in every learner's journey that feels frustrating. You've been showing up, doing the work, following the routines, but you still don't feel fluent. You don't feel different. You start to ask yourself, why am I not seeing results? That's when I learned one of the hardest and most freeing lessons of my life. Just because you can't see the progress doesn't mean it's not happening. We live in a world obsessed with fast results and instant feedback, but real growth, deep, lasting change, is often silent, invisible, internal. It doesn't always look exciting on the outside, but inside, something powerful is being built. Think about a seed. For weeks, it lives underground. No sign of life, no green leaves, no flowers. But under the surface, it's working. Roots are growing, foundations are forming. And one day, without warning, it breaks through the ground. Strong, alive, visible. That's what your English journey is like. You may not notice it yet, but your brain is building patterns. Your ears are recognizing rhythm. Your mouth is learning to shape new sounds. Your memory is adjusting. Your confidence is growing bit by bit. These changes are subtle, but they're real, and they matter. When I was learning English, there were days I felt like I was failing. I couldn't measure my progress. I felt stuck. But then one day I watched a video without subtitles and realized I understood most of it. I hadn't even noticed it happening. It just clicked. That's the beauty of invisible progress. It shows up when you least expect it, and it surprises you. But to reach that moment, you have to keep going, even when it feels slow, especially when it feels slow, because that's when most people give up. Not because they're not improving, but because they don't see it yet. You have to trust the process, trust your habits, trust the effort you've already given. You're not wasting time. You're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be, building something real, even if it's still underground. So here's a small but powerful habit. Keep a progress journal. Every week, write down what you noticed, A new word you remembered, a sentence you understood, a moment you felt confident. Even if it feels tiny, record it. Because looking back later, you'll realize you were growing all along. And when doubt creeps in, when you feel like nothing's changing, go back to that journal. Remind yourself, I am not stuck. I'm strengthening. I'm learning. I'm becoming. Progress isn't always loud. It's often quiet, patient, and slow, but it's always moving forward if you are. So don't wait for big changes to feel proud. Celebrate the invisible ones, because those are the changes that last. Life Lesson 9. Comparison steals your joy. There's a trap that every learner falls into at some point. Maybe you're in it right now. You look around. You see someone your age speaking English fluently. You hear someone pronounce words perfectly. You watch videos where people speak fast and confidently, and you start to feel small, behind, not good enough. That's when this lesson becomes a lifeline. Comparison will always steal your joy unless you learn to stay in your own lane. I've been there. I've looked at others and thought, why am I not like that yet? What am I doing wrong? Maybe I'm just not talented. But that thinking did more damage than any mistake I ever made in English. It didn't push me to improve. It paralyzed me. And that's what comparison does. It makes you doubt your path by looking at someone else's. But here's the truth. You don't know their story. You don't know how long they've been learning. You don't know how many hours they've practiced. You don't know the struggles they've had or the confidence they had to build. You're comparing your behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel. Your journey is unique. Your voice, your pace, your rhythm, it's all yours. And no one can take that from you unless you give it away through comparison. You are not in a race with anyone. You are building something personal, something meaningful, and the only person you need to be better than is the version of you from yesterday. So instead of comparing yourself to others, compare yourself to your past self. Look at how far you've come. Remember when you couldn't introduce yourself in English? Remember when you had to translate every word in your head? Remember when you were too scared to speak at all? That's the only comparison that matters, your own progress. And when you see someone doing well, shift your mindset. Don't say, why not me? Say, if they can, I can too. Use them as inspiration, not competition. Admire without attacking yourself. Let their success remind you of what's possible, not of what you think you're missing. Here's a simple practice. Every time you catch yourself comparing, pause, take a breath, say this out loud. My path is different. My progress is real. My time is coming. Repeat it as often as you need, because you're not late. You're not less. You're just on your own timeline. And your timeline, it's still unfolding, still building, still beautiful. So stop looking left and right. Look forward. Look inward. Because the more you focus on your lane, the faster and happier you'll move. Life Lesson 10. Who you become matters more than what you learn. As we come to the end of this journey together, There's one final truth I want to leave with you. Something that goes beyond grammar, beyond vocabulary, beyond English itself. The person you're becoming during this journey is more important than anything you'll ever memorize. Yes, English is powerful. It opens doors. It connects you to the world. It gives you access to knowledge, opportunities, relationships. But the real gift of learning English isn't just what you gain. It's what you grow inside of you. You become more patient, more disciplined, more focused. You become someone who can sit in discomfort and keep going. Someone who can fail and still return the next day. Someone who dares to speak even when it's scary. These are not language skills. These are life skills, and they shape who you are in ways that last forever. I've seen learners who spoke perfectly but were insecure, impatient, or arrogant. And I've seen learners with broken grammar, but hearts full of fire and the courage to keep learning. And let me tell you, the second group always grows further because they're building something deeper than just language. They're building character. Your fluency matters. Of course it does. But your mindset, your resilience, your consistency, those are the roots. And roots always come before flowers. So ask yourself, as you learn English, am I becoming someone who keeps promises to myself? Am I becoming someone who doesn't give up when it gets hard? Am I becoming someone who cheers for others, not competes with them? If the answer is yes, then you are already successful. Because success isn't a level, it's a lifestyle. It's who you choose to be every day, in the smallest moments, especially when no one is watching. And here's the most beautiful part. All these lessons you've learned in English, they follow you everywhere, into your career, your relationships, your goals, your dreams. You're not just learning how to speak, you're learning how to show up, how to believe, how to rise. So the next time you feel stuck or lost or slow, remember, you are not just learning English. You are building strength. You are learning to lead yourself. You are becoming someone who doesn't quit, who doesn't run, who doesn't wait for permission to grow. That's what this podcast was really about. Not just lessons in language, but lessons in life. And if you've made it this far, I want you to know something simple and true. I'm proud of you. Because the strongest version of you isn't coming one day. You're already becoming them right now. Keep going, keep growing, and keep becoming. Thank you, my brilliant students, for walking this journey with me. These lessons were not just stories, they were pieces of my truth. And by listening, you gave them a home inside your own journey. I hope they inspired you. I hope they reminded you that you're not alone. And I hope they helped you feel something stronger than motivation, commitment. You're not just studying English. You're building resilience. You're practicing courage. You're becoming fluent, not only in a new language, but in a new version of yourself. And if you ever doubt that, come back to this episode. Let these lessons guide you again. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and above all, keep believing in the strength you're still discovering. You are becoming someone powerful, and I can't wait to meet that version of you soon.